the day that you could just get away from the ones you've betrayed, who raise their voices to say you won't be trusted anymore. All right, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Friday edition of the WTF Reports. I'm your host, Dave vonKleist, and yes, it's Old Hallows Eve. Yes, 31st of October, 2025, Halloween. Here we are. Well, do we have anything to be scared about? Well, you will. Yeah, I got some pretty scary stuff I want to share with you today. But first, I just want to remind you all that this broadcast is brought to you in part by the Wave Watch. And I've been running mine. I think you regular listeners know. I told you last week I started getting these kidney pains. And I've had kidney stones before, and believe me, they are no fun. And so when I started getting this, I said, oh my gosh, I talked to my doctor, and he said, well, organic, unsweetened cranberry juice, just keep drinking that. That'll help break them up, and drink a lot of water. So I started doing that, and then I got the Wave Watch, and I started putting on the program for kidney wellness and kidney health. And glorioski, golly gosh, this pain has subsided. Maybe I passed it. I don't know. But, hey, look at this Wave Watch. I'm telling you, folks, I wouldn't be talking about it. And I'm not here just to sell stuff. There's plenty of broadcasters out there that they'll sell anything as long as they can make a buck. I'm not about that. It's not about the money. It's not about that. But it's about a good product. And I do firmly believe that the Wave Watch, based on Tesla technology, and it was developed by Royal Raymond Rife. And if you don't know what a Rife machine is, do some research. But this is a Rife machine you wear on your wrist. But you should really check it out. Go to our website, TheWTFReports. Check out the Wave Watch. I'm not here to tell you it's going to cure or treat anything, but it could very well help, because frequency is everything. All right, that said, all right, we're in a pickle in this country. We're in some deep doo-doo on many, many different fronts. Now, I don't know what's going to happen in the coming weeks. Of course, tomorrow, a lot of these benefits are going to be cut off, and I'm going to be just discussing that in just a few minutes. But right off the bat, again, this is Halloween, and this is when we all celebrate the scary, scary stuff. Well, I don't subscribe to that. I know the origins of Halloween. I know what it represents, and I'll have nothing to do with it. No, I'm not going to celebrate by images of demons and blood and skeletons and horror and death. No, that's not my cup of tea. But I do want to tell you that there is something to be scared about. And I want to start off by sharing with you Dr. Martin, Dr. David Martin. Now, for those of you who've been paying attention, and you know that ever since the hokey pokey thingy dingy, there are a lot of physicians out there and scientists that have been saying, hey, wait a second, this is a biological weapon. This is a bioweapon. And the more research that they've been doing, the more their suspicions are confirmed. But I want to share with you a presentation, the tail end of a presentation that Dr. David Martin gave. And then I'm going to follow up with some historical stuff. Maybe so, maybe no. We'll find out. But anyway, here's Dr. David Martin. Listen to this.
I'm done talking about COVID, and I'm done talking about SARS-CoV-2, and I'm done for a very simple reason. For 110 years, we, the people of the world, have been lied to.
Okay, I'm going to pause it. He said 110 years. Okay, keep that in mind.
We're a group of very small number of criminal industrial conspirators decided to subordinate the entirety of the human population for the purpose of their sinister plans to enrich themselves while impoverishing and killing the rest of humanity.
Impoverishing and killing. He continues.
And I'm done being polite. We've long passed polite. When the words acceptable death rate become part of an industrial norm, we have lost the plot of humanity. And that's not my words. Those were the words of the World Health Organization and of Pfizer and of Moderna when they were given the authorization to begin the process of killing human beings in the interest of advancing their goals. And I'm also not going to sugarcoat this. This is a criminal cartel. We are acting as though there's some sort of redeemable quality somewhere in some esoteric layer that somehow or another the World Health Organization must have some salutatory benefit. Well, I'm going to tell you, since its formation in the 1940s, the World Health Organization has been nothing more than a criminal cartel that has a sole and singular intent. And I will show you the document that proves what I'm saying. This is not an allegation. This is actually provable by their own words in their own hand. And they use a four-step process to execute every one of their nefarious plans. They begin by planning an exercise, then they go to the business of funding that exercise, then they create the rationale for the thing that they're going to do, and then they deploy and profit from it.
Okay, now that's Dr. David Martin. Now again, he mentioned it was over a century ago that there are, nefarious individuals that want to kill people. That's and if it's deeds, not words, look at how many people have been involved in the issue on the globalist agenda to lower the global population. Again, the Georgia Guidestones had it literally etched in granite. The number one tenet was to reduce the population, or shall I say, I'm going to quote it, maintain the world population at no more than 500 million in perpetual balance with nature. In other words, if the population of the world is 8 billion people, that means 7.5 billion of them are going to have to vacate the premises. Now, how do you suppose they were going to do that? Now, again, Dr. David Martin was referring to some nefarious individuals, and he did reference the WHO, the World Health Organization, which, of course, is part of the United Nations, the UN. The UN, I might remind you that the UN building in New York City was built on the old Rockefeller stockyards. Yes, the Rockefellers had something to do with this, and of course the Rockefellers are joined at the hip with the Rothschilds. Anyway, so if this is a nefarious plan that goes back 110 years or so, thereabouts, it's interesting that a document showed up back in 1962, and this is it's surfaced, and it's occasionally it makes the rounds, but it gets poo-pooed and it gets shut down because it's all just conspiracy theory. Yeah, Snopes and PolitiFact and fact checkers, say, no, this is garbage. This doesn't exist. Well, supposedly it was written by John D. Rockefeller, and I'd like to share it with you. You want to be scared? Let's just say emphasis will be added as I read to you the secret covenant. An illusion it will be, so large, so vast, it will escape their perception. Those who will see it will be thought of as insane. We will create separate we will create separate fronts to prevent them from seeing the connection between us. We will behave as if we are not connected to keep the illusion alive. Our goal will be accomplished one drop at a time so as to never bring suspicion upon ourselves. This will also prevent them from seeing the changes as they occur. We will always stand above the relative field of their experience, for we know the secrets of the absolute. We will work together always and will remain bound by blood and secrecy. Death will come to he who speaks. We will keep their lifespan short and their minds weak while pretending to do the opposite. We will use our knowledge of science and technology in subtle ways so they will never see what is happening. We will use soft metals, aging accelerators, and sedatives in food and water, also in the air. They will be blanketed by poisons everywhere they turn. The soft metals will cause them to lose their minds. We will promise to find a cure from our many fronts, yet we will feed them more poison. The poisons will be absorbed through their skin and mouths. They will destroy their minds and reproductive systems. From all this, their children will be born dead, and we will conceal this information. The poisons will be hidden in everything that surrounds them, in what they drink, eat, breathe, and wear. We must be ingenious in dispensing the poisons, for they can see far. We will teach them that the poisons are good, with fun images and musical tones. They will look up to those they look up to will help. We will enlist them to push our poisons. They will see our products as being used in film and will grow accustomed to them and will never know their true effect. When they give birth, we will inject poisons into the blood of their children and convince them it's for their help. We will start early on when their minds are young. We will target their children with what children love most, sweet things. When their teeth decay, we will fill them with metals that will kill their mind and steal their future. When their ability to learn has been affected, we will create medicine that will make them sicker and cause other diseases for which we will create yet more medicine. We will render them docile and weak before us by our power. They will grow depressed, slow, and obese, and when they come to us for help, we will give them more poison. We will focus their attention toward money and material goods so that they may never connect with their inner self. We will distract them with fornication, external pleasures, and games so that they never can be one with the oneness of it all. Their minds will belong to us, and they will do as we say. If they refuse, we shall find ways to implement mind-altering technology into their lives. We will use fear as our weapon. We will establish their governments and establish opposites within. We will own both sides. We will always hide our objective, but carry out our plan. They will perform the labor for us, and we shall prosper from their toil. Our families will never mix with theirs. Our blood must always be pure, for it is the way. We will make them kill each other when it suits us. We will keep them separated from the oneness by dogma and religion. We will control all aspects of their lives and tell them what to think and how. We will guide them kindly and gently, letting them think they are guiding themselves. We will foment animosity between them through our factions. When a light shall shine among them, we shall extinguish it by ridicule or death, whichever suits us best. We will make them rip each other's hearts apart and kill their own children. We will accomplish this by using hate as our ally, anger as our friend. The hate will blind them totally, and never shall they see that from their conflicts we emerge as their rulers. They will be busy killing each other. They will bathe in their own blood and kill their neighbors for as long as we see fit. We will benefit greatly from this, for they will not see us, for they cannot see us. We will continue to prosper from their wars and their deaths. We shall repeat this over and over until our ultimate goal is accomplished. We will continue to make them live in fear and anger through images and sounds. We will use all the tools we have to accomplish this. The tools will be provided by their labor. We will make them hate themselves and their neighbors. We will always hide the divine truth from them, that we are all one. This they must never know. They must never know that color is an illusion. They must always think that they are not equal. Drop by drop by drop, we will advance our goal. We will take over their land, resources, and wealth to exercise total control over them. We will deceive them into accepting laws that will steal the little freedom they will have. We will establish a money system that will imprison them forever, keeping them and their children in debt. When they shall band together, we shall accuse them of crimes and present a different story to the world, for we shall own all the media. We will use our media to control the flow of information and the sentiment in our favor. When they shall rise up against us, we will crush them like insects, for they are less than that. They will be helpless to do anything, for they will have no weapons. We will recruit some of their own to carry out our plans. We will promise them eternal life, but eternal life they will never have, for they are not of us. Their recruits will be called initiates and will be indoctrinated to believe false rites of passage to higher realms. Members of these groups will think that they are one with us, never knowing the truth. They must never learn this truth, for they will turn against us. For their work, they will be rewarded with earthly things and great titles, but never will they become immortal and join us. Never will they receive the light and travel the stars. They will never reach the higher realms, for killing of their own kind, they will prevent the passage to the realm of enlightenment. This they will never know. The truth will be hidden in their face, so close they will not be able to focus on it until it's too late. Oh yes, the grand illusion of freedom will be that they will never know that they are our slaves. When all is in place, the reality will have created for them will of their own. This reality will be their prison. They will live in self-delusion. When our goal is accomplished, a new era of domination will begin. Their minds will be bound by their beliefs. Their beliefs we have established from time immemorial. But if they ever find out that they are our equal, we shall perish then. This they must never know. If they ever find out that together they can vanquish us, they will take action. They must never, ever find out what we have done, for if they do, we shall have no place to run. For it will be easy to see who we are once the veil has fallen. Our actions will have revealed who we are, and they will hunt us down, and no person shall give us shelter. This is the secret covenant by which we shall live the rest of our present and future lives, for this reality will transcend many generations and lifespans. This covenant is sealed by blood, our blood. We, the ones who from heaven to earth came. This covenant must never, ever be known to exist. It must never, ever be written or spoken of. For if it is, the consciousness it will spawn will release the fury of the prime creator upon us, and we shall be cast to the depths of whence we came and remain there until the end of time of infinity itself. This was written by someone who was unknown. Okay, the author is an unknown person, is an unknown date. Anyone who can contribute credible documentation to attest to the validity of these written words, please stand up. Anyway, I wanted to share that with you. That is the secret covenant. Nobody knows where it came from. Nobody knows who wrote it, but the legend is it was written by John D. Rockefeller over a century ago. And I can't help but say that if it's deeds and not words, those words that I just read to you from the secret covenant appear to be spelling out in reality by the deeds being performed by our world leaders. So, okay, maybe it's just a conspiracy theory. Maybe this is just some crazy writing from a maniac, some lunatic over a century ago. And I'd have to say, yes, I would agree with that. They have to be a lunatic to write something like that. I mean, this is just the epitome, the prime pharmaceutical grade evil. And I wanted to share that with you because there are people who believe that. And I remind you, I could go and get the audio clip and share it with you, but Jacob Rockefeller made the statement, and you can find it, just do a little bit of research. He has stated openly that the Rothschild family will never marry outside of the family to keep their secrets and their wealth within their brood. So this is, I wanted to share that with you because it looks like those words, it's scary when you read that about all the poisons and everything. Look at what we're dealing with in the world right now. The poisons are everywhere, in the food, in the water, in the air, in your clothing, everywhere. And the pharmaceutical companies, let's say, well, we all know that the best customer is a repeat customer, so there's no incentive whatsoever for them to heal or cure anything. The object is to keep people sick. And you look at some of the investments that some of these people make. People who manufacture are involved in insulin, for example. Dealing with people who have diabetes. Okay, insulin is very expensive, and there are millions and millions and millions of people who require that insulin. And as long as they require that insulin, as long as there's diabetes, then those pharmaceutical companies that manufacture insulin are going to make money. Well, it's interesting that the people who own the shares in the companies that manufacture insulin also have stock in fast food restaurants like McDonald's and Burger King and all the others out there. They also invest in candy manufacturers. Hey, it's Halloween. What are the kids eating? Candy. So yes, there is a nefarious plot. And I suppose if I had read this thing, this secret covenant, 10 or 20 years ago, I would have rolled my eyes and said, boy, oh boy, that's a real piece of fiction. But now I go back and I read this, and knowing what I now know and seeing what I have seen and the experiences that I've had basically tell me that this secret covenant was more or less a roadmap. And I hate to say it, folks, but that's pretty scary stuff. So with that, happy Halloween.
Get More Tank will save you money every month on gas. Get More Tank is a tablet with active ingredients that adds big mileage to every tank. Made in America, the Get More Tank formula is used by trucking companies and heavy industry. Now the Get More Tank formula is available to you. Get More Tank works in any gas or diesel engine, cleans your engine, lowers emissions, and you'll feel improved engine performance every time you step on the gas. Get More Tank works for cars, trucks, boats, motorcycles, four-wheelers, mowers, and blowers. Hey, if you got an engine, then Get More Tank. Contractors, electricians, plumbers, painters, and lawn service companies, Get More Tank will save you money and extend the life of your engines. If you're an owner-operator running your big rig around the town or across the country, Get More Tank will save you money too. If you're a farmer, all of your equipment can use Get More Tank. A 5-pack on sale at GetMoreTank.com for just $22.22 plus shipping. Use the promo code REDPILL101 and get 10% off. Save your money, save your engine, save the earth at GetMoreTank.com. Get More Tank is EPA registered, doesn't void warranties, results vary.
And you can get more tank by going to our website. Woo, 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 woo. Listen to that dog bark. He's directing you to TheWTFReports.com. When you go there, click on the sponsors page. It'll take you down to a little box where it says Get More Tank. When you click on that, you can read all about the specifications and details on how and why this stuff works. It's a fuel catalyst, not an additive, a catalyst. It makes your fuel burn more efficiently. And as it does so, it cleans out your engine. And after running a tank or two, you're going to start seeing the mileage increase, anywhere between 15 and 20%, depending upon your make, model, and year of vehicle and your driving habits. So what are you waiting for? This is a win-win situation. One purchase can save you an entire tank of gas. So, hey, go to our website, The WTF Reports, hit the sponsors button, and get more tank. You'll be glad that you did. Okay, that said, let's see, bottom of the hour. Well, I suppose we could open up the phone lines, but I got a bunch more stuff I want to share with you. The phone number here is 215-867-8255. Now, of course, everybody's talking about the continuing resolution. Everybody's talking about the government shutdown and the SNAP benefits and the food stamps and all this stuff that's going to be cut off. And, of course, the mainstream media is pushing the narrative that it's all the Republicans' fault. Well, some of the media is also pointing out that, the Democrats, they need to belly up to the bar and stop holding this thing up. So there's this raging debate, and meanwhile, the unwashed masses, the overwhelming majority of the American people who have been taking food stamps and SNAP benefits and EBT cards, no, they don't pay attention to the news. No. They just get word of mouth, and a lot of them don't do any research. Okay, we got a phone caller here. Let's go to the phones. Hello, caller. Who are you, and where are you calling from?
Perry from Backwaterburg, Illinois, the capital.
All right, Perry, welcome to the show. Thank you for calling. You first-time caller, huh?
Yeah, I just Actually, I've always liked the program on a lot of things with you. I'm here. Your ballad of Shirley Allen that you made.
Oh, gosh, that was like 25 years ago. I remember that, the Ballad of Shirley Allen.
Well, yesterday was the 28th day of the ending of that standoff. The 28th anniversary of the ending of that standoff was yesterday.
Wow, okay, I remember that very well. I was there, as you recall.
Yeah, that's when I first... See, I didn't really hear about you. I can't really say when. It might have been 10 years later. But I started, I was late to smartphones and all that, and YouTube and all that. So
yeah.
I wanted to thank you for, I just found your Red State thing back in June, and I'm still a little clunky on it. But I just wanted to let you know on that.
Well, thank you so much. I've often thought about whatever happened to Shirley Allen. Is she still with us?
I worked in Christian County down there a lot, and I knew her garbage man. Last I knew, she was still alive. But that's there's supposedly rumors of books and stuff, but she didn't go that route.
Yeah, well, she was a humble woman, and she just wanted to be left alone. And unfortunately, the stepkids wanted to take her land, and that's a whole story. The stepkids were saying that she was unstable and she was not capable of taking care of herself because she was living off the grid. She was growing her own food. She was totally self-sufficient, want nothing to do with the outside world, and God bless her for it. And so anyway, the stepkids were trying to have her land taken. So and she held up for 30 days.
That was when I first lost faith in the media down here because they had such a big, nobody could get close to within a mile of it.
Mm-hmm.
And the reporter was wearing a trooper's hat the whole time.
Yeah, I remember we were standing out. It was cold, it was rainy, it was windy, and we were out there with the police, and we were going, bad cop, no donut. Bad cop, no donut. I remember that. Wow. Well, thank you.
It was a busy year in this town anyway, but I'll let you go.
Well, thank you so much, Barry. I sincerely appreciate you calling in and basically reminding me about that event. And 28 years ago. Oh, my gosh, how time flies. Holy mackerel.
Yeah.
At some point, I'll have to play the song, The Ballad of Shirley Allen. And it's on.
Yeah, I play a lot. There's a lot of your stuff I play on YouTube, but I'll let you go.
All right. Well, Barry, thank you so much. And I'm glad to have you on board as a listener. And hey, spread the word. Bring people around.
They don't usually listen to me too much.
All right. Well, I'm glad you're listening today. So, all right.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, Perry. Thank you very much for the call. All right, that was very nice of him to call in and remind me. 28 years ago. Oh, gosh, I can't believe that's been that long. Anyway, okay, back on track here. As I was saying, everybody is talking about the continuing resolution, the government shutdown, and I'm going to play. This is very difficult to hear. It was an on-the-street interview. I don't know who the woman was who was doing the interview, but she was talking to a Venezuelan woman who had immigrated here and was explaining the benefits that she enjoys. Okay, I'm going to play this. I might have to repeat it because there was a lot of city background traffic noise, but I think you'll be able to hear most of it. Here it is.
No, $15,000 in food stamps and $5,000 in cash.
Okay, right there, she said $15,000 in food stamps, $5,000 in cash.
Every month they're getting that, yes. And they're getting 6 months free rent.
6 months free rent.
This was the first time I heard about it. Now I've heard it's 2 years free rent.
2 years free rent.
Section 8.
Section 8.
First, prioritized before the citizens.
Okay, she said they were prioritized before the citizens, and she's a Venezuelan.
So the Venezuelan migrants that are coming in here, they are getting 6 months free rent, $15,000 in food stamps, and on a credit card, $5,000.
Okay, I know that's hard to hear, but she's just the interviewer is repeating back: $15,000 in food stamps, $5,000 in cash, 6 months free rent with Section 8, okay?
Cash. Oh my goodness. How do the people in Chicago feel about that?
Well, people are angry because there's a lot of people, that need help with Medicaid and food stamps, and they get rejected.
Tell me about the people that you've seen on the streets collecting.
Okay, what she's saying there is that the residents of Chicago who need the assistance, they're being rejected. The priority is to take care of the Venezuelans and the other migrants that have come in. Oh my gosh.
By my house, there's a Walgreens. There's a lot of families that go stand by the door with a pamphlet saying they need money and food. And they're Venezuelans getting money. And then they go in the bus and don't pay. Go in the trains, don't pay. And they're not getting in trouble for none.
Okay, what she's saying now is that the residents of Chicago, they're standing outside and they don't have food. They're out there trying to, panhandle so that they can eat and they can get some money to pay some of their bills. And meanwhile, the Venezuelans or the immigrants, they're out there committing crimes and they're not being arrested. They're not getting any penalty whatsoever for the crimes that are being committed. This is what's happening now here in the United States, and that was in Chicago, by the way. All right, so with that, okay, that doesn't have a whole lot to do with the government shutdown because those are policies that were put into place under the Biden administration, okay? America's not number one. America last as far as the Biden administration is concerned. So now we move into this government shutdown, all right? So... I'm going to start off with this one here. Here we go.
It is beautiful out in Central Florida, about 60 degrees, and I'm just sitting here thinking, there are so many people that are mad that we live in a country where 40 million people are going to lose their food stamps, and 40 million people will go hungry. So what is their answer to this failed federal system, to this hybrid of capitalism and socialism that we got going on? Let's make a city more socialist. Why don't we test it out? Let's see how that goes, right? You are being failed by your socialist government who cannot support you because that's socialism. They make you a lot of promises and they don't have a lot of money and they don't really care about you. You think they want equality for you? Hilarious. If you give them the power to feed you, you give them the power to starve you. And you're not going to fix that with more socialism. You think Zohan is going to give you free rent and free buses, and that's going to make everything better? No, we have to fix the money. We have to fix the money. The interest in the debt alone, we have a $2 trillion deficit. A deficit means we spend more money than we bring in. You could tax all the rich people in the world 100%, and you're not going to close that deficit. Not going to close that deficit. So this problem is so far beyond taxing the rich and having a socialized government. Socialism is failing. And we know this because every single socialized government fails. And before they fail, they usually take out the useful idiots. If you give them the power to feed you, you give them the power to starve you. Stop being retarded.
Stop being retarded. I love it. That's true. If you give them the power to feed you, you give them the power to starve you. And this is being echoed across the board. Here's another person who has posted their opinion on the continuing resolution and the government shutdown.
So you still think Republicans are responsible for this government shutdown? Tell me you didn't pay attention to civics class without telling me you didn't pay attention to civics class. Let me break this down for you like you were 5 years old. There are 100 senators, right? And yes, there are more than 50 Republican senators, right? But you need to have at least 60 votes to pass through legislation and to reopen the government. And of course, the Democrats know this. So even though they are the statistical minority, they have just enough individuals who are able to hold out to stonewall legislation to reopen the federal government. If you sit there and think, oh, Republicans have control of the House, the White House, and the Senate, why can't they get anything done? Why are they blaming Democrats? It's because Democrats know exactly what they're doing, okay? And if Republicans were able to actually ram through whatever they wanted, if Trump was able to do whatever he really really wanted to do, guess what that would make him? It would make him a king, right? Remember you were out there a few days ago talking about no kings. Congratulations. You protested something that didn't even exist, but I digress. And you knew that already. But the fact of the matter is, this is not a Republican shutdown. It is because of Democrats who have gone on record to say that they are using this as leverage. They're using American citizens, American families as leverage as they continue to crusade for benefits for illegal immigrants. And that's just the God's honest truth. And don't let anyone tell you any differently.
Yes, leverage. He was using the word leverage. I would say hostage. They're holding the people hostage until they get what they want. Now, again, the continuing resolution has been passed a dozen times. Not a problem. But for whatever reason, ever since USAID was dismantled and raided, thank goodness, and ever since Act Blue has been examined and investigated and had that money cut off, so now the Democrats are saying, oh, crap, we've been cut off at the knees financially. We want a $1.5 trillion, and you better add it in there because we want to fund all the illegal immigrants, and we want that money to come back. That's what it's all about. Anyway, here's another person who's figured it out.
So it's day 30 of the government shutdown, and the party that caused the shutdown is now posting this on X. Now, the one thing that I have to say is the Democrats are not dumb when it comes to social media use.
Okay, I'm going to pause it because she showed a little poster that's going out there, and basically the poster says it's the Republicans' fault. But unfortunately, a lot of people will believe that because they do absolutely no research whatsoever.
They post this because they know it will get the rage bait out of their people that follow them, all while sitting there turning around and giving them talking points of, well, see, it's the government shutdown that's the Republicans' fault because the Republicans run everything. And they know that their people are too dumb to go up and look at how things actually work in the Senate. Because while, yes, the Republicans have the majority in the Senate and we do hold control, you need 60 votes in order to get a cloture vote so you can kill the filibuster. Guess what? The Republicans only hold 53 seats. So let's do some math here, okay? If you take 60, subtract 53, that leaves how many left over? 7. That means we need 7 Democrats to vote yes so that we can end all of the political theater and actually get a vote going on to reopen the government. The Republicans even came in and offered a bill that would guarantee that all federal workers and military members would get their paychecks come November 1st, even if the government did not reopen. Guess what? The Democrats voted against that. For the same reason that they voted against cloture, because that would give up their leverage. Which, by the way, if you haven't heard, that's you. They called you leverage. Your paycheck, your access to food, and your government assistance is their leverage. Let me put this in a way that you might understand. They are willing to let you starve and go without, so that way that they can hold out for the money that goes into the insurance company's pockets, that in turn then goes into their pockets. Which quite literally means that the Eat the Rich crowd is going to let the people starve so that the rich can get richer. But hey, why let facts get in the way of a good rage post, huh? It's just fun. Have a day.
Yeah, right. Oh, my gosh. And let's see. And here's yet another post.
The only qualification you need to be a Democrat is to be dumb. The only qualification you need to pass as one of the Democrat voters is to just don't have a brain, just to be mindlessly following whatever you hear. Because I don't know how y'all still talking about Trump is keeping the government closed. Are y'all stupid? Like 60 votes. Everyone keeps saying you need 60 votes. Yes, 60 votes. 53 of those were Republicans that said yes. The others are Democrats that said no. How is it you guys don't understand that we're agreeing with the senators who said yes because we don't want to pay $200 billion for illegals' health care? What? I'm supposed to pay for my health care, which I do, and pay for another person's health care too, who is not my child? You see how basic that sounds? You guys are bugging. Ain't no way you mean to tell me we should be paying for people who don't contribute to this country in no way, shape, or form other than just being here. The hell? Hell no. I do hope that the Republicans hold their stance and don't ever open back up this government.
Yeah, there are some people out there that understand how that works. And this is another reason why I'm playing all these clips, all these audio receipts, one after another.
Everybody's out here screaming like, oh my God, SNAP is ending and kids are going to go hungry. But the truth is, every single one of you has misguided anger. This is going to be a controversial take. So before you come into my comments and rage, just know that I was a food stamp kid and we faced some really shady times in those early years. But my mother would have sold her soul to make sure that we had food to eat. If you're in a position where the government can completely remove your ability to provide food for yourself, you're too reliant on the government. That is nobody's fault but your own. The second book of Thessalonians tells us that if you don't work, you don't eat. So when you're out here with your bleeding heart, crying over all these kids that are potentially going to go hungry, who should you really be mad at? You can scream Orange Man bad all you want, but the truth is that it's the Democrat socialists that are to blame, and not even the ones that are in office right now. First, they convinced you that they were coming to rescue the needy with the New Deal and the Great Society, both of which were Democrat initiatives. And Obama came in and massively overextended the program to get everybody hooked on the system. And now the government who promised to feed you is the same government who has the power to starve you. You want to be mad at somebody? Fine. Be mad at the parents who aren't willing to provide for their own children. Be mad at the people who believed the lie that total government reliance was a fail-safe plan. Be mad at the Democrats for proving to you once again that socialism doesn't work. Or be glad that they gave you this modern day example of how socialism never works. And then remember that when you go to the voting booth.
It's like the old FAFO, fiddle around and find out.
Over 40 million people are about to lose their food stamps. Over 40 million people are about to not know how to feed themselves or their children, because they've been living off the government. And this is exactly why conservatives have the narrative that you should never rely on the government. Because the reality is, if they can feed you, they can also starve you. And that's why socialism will never work and is never a good idea. Yet, those same 40 million people that are about to lose their food stamps are the ones that vote for socialistic policies. And the most ironic part about it is, who do you think they're blaming? Trump and the Republican Party. When in reality, the Biden administration is the one that made welfare, food stamps, all of those programs so obtainable and accessible for everybody. They helped a good chunk of those 40 million people become reliant on the government. Why would they do that? Power and control. If they can control the food that goes on your table, if your lights come on in your house, if you can feed your children, if you can stay warm in the winter, if they can control all of that, they secure your vote. On top of it, the reason you are losing your food stamps is because Democrats refuse to reopen the government due to Republicans saying we don't want to sign a bill that gives immigrants health care. You heard me right. The politicians that you voted in, the politicians that promised you all these free programs and free this and free that, they're the ones not giving it to you right now. You are losing your food stamps because your party, the Liberal Party, cares more about non-citizens than it does about you putting food on your table. You are losing your food stamps because of who you voted for and what it truly means to vote for people who think socialism is the answer. Relying on the government is never the answer, okay? Get a job, save your money. Just because it's in your bank account doesn't mean you have to spend it, and only have the amount of kids you can provide for. If you do those simple things, the next time the government shuts down, it's not going to make a damn difference to you because you're going to be self-reliant. But this is exactly why voting for Democrats and voting for liberals is the worst possible thing you can do.
Do we need to say more? Yeah, there are a lot of people that do understand why we're having this government shutdown, but there are a lot of folks that are being led around by their nose, by their party, because their party, I can't say anything other than it's treason. There was a time years and years and years ago that both Republicans and Democrats would go by the Constitution, our first document of law, and they worked within the confines of the Constitution, and they would inevitably try to do what was best for their country in their own minds. But now the Democratic Party is doing everything it can to destroy this country. They've been taken over by the socialist, communist mindset. And, let's turn the clock. Let's use the time machine. Let's go back to 2013 and listen to what Obama had to say about the looming government shutdown that they were facing back in those days. Listen up. Oh, okay, I miscued that. Let's try it again. Here we go.
If Republicans do not like the law, they can go through the regular channels and processes to try to change it. That's why we have elections. So they can go through the normal processes and procedures of a democracy, but you do not threaten the full faith and credit of the United States of America. Shutting down the government just because you don't like a law that was passed, I have to say no Congress before this one has ever in history been irresponsible enough to threaten an economic shutdown, to suggest America not pay its bills, just to try to blackmail a president into giving them some concessions. I will not negotiate on anything when it comes to the full faith and credit of the United States of America. We're not going to submit to this kind of total irresponsibility. Congress needs to pay our bills on time. Congress needs to pass a budget on time. Congress needs to put an end to governing from crisis to crisis.
Yeah. Can you smell the hypocrisy? Can you? Can you really? Yeah, I think you can. But anyway, I just want to change gears a little bit. And again, I want to thank the caller. I think he said his name was Perry, to remind me that this was the 28th anniversary of the siege of Shirley Allen. And that said, I figured, and I remember at the time, it was, I guess it was 1998. Yeah, it has to be around there, 1997 maybe. Joyce and I were traveling around the country. We were trying to help all of the veterans from the first Gulf War. And we were in transit. I forget where we were and where we were heading, but we were in Illinois someplace. And we got a phone call. And the phone call said, hey, guys, listen, there's a siege going on right now. There's a little woman who has basically been under siege for the past several weeks. And we said, what's going on? And they said, well, they've cut off her phone, they cut off her water, they cut off her gas. They're trying to get her out of there. And she's just a little old lady living on a farm. So we decided to go there. And when we got to the town and they were having a city hall meeting, well, it wasn't really a city hall. It was like a community center or something. And all the locals were there. They were really pissed off at the police and the state police for doing what they were doing. But anyway, this is a song that I wrote on the spot about what was going on with Shirley Allen, and I hope you enjoy it.
He called himself psychiatrist, but didn't even try to understand the other side or see things eye to eye. The stepkids said she's crazy, and he simply said okay. He signed a piece of paper and gave Shirley's rights away. Then in came law enforcement, and they said, come with us. And it proves that you're unstable if you fight or make a fuss. Protect and serve is what each lawman swears that he will do. But enforcing laws are bad. Protects and serves just who? If you label as unstable all the ones who disagree, you take away the right of speaking out and thinking free. If the founders were so labeled, then where would our country be? We wouldn't have our freedom or our precious liberty. A prisoner inside her home and guilty of no crime, with dogs and gas and rubber rounds, assaulted several times. They said for her protection, they would have to cut her phone, electric power and water, and smash the windows of her home. If you label as unstable all the ones who disagree, you take away their right of speaking out and thinking free. If the founders were so labeled, then where would our country be? You wouldn't have your freedom or your precious liberty. If you just follow orders with no sense of right or wrong, then you're the one I'm singing to. I hope you hear this song. We ask each man who wears a badge to do what he must do. But ask yourself this question: would you want it done to you? Yes, ask yourself this question:
Do you want it done to you?
If you label as unstable all the ones who disagree, you take away their right of speaking out and thinking free. If the founders were so labeled, then where would our country be? You wouldn't have your freedom or your precious liberty. If our patriots are labeled, then where will our country be? You'll never keep your freedom and you'll lose your liberty.
Whoa. I haven't heard that song in years. It just went into my memory hideaway. And again, thank you, Perry, for calling in a little bit earlier, reminding me about that siege. And yes, Shirley Allen, boy, I tell you, she was so resourceful when they cut off her water. You know what she did? She had lots of canned beans and corn and stuff like that. She would open up the can and she'd drink the water that was in there. Yeah, she was under siege for nearly a month, as I recall. But yeah, it was because the stepkids wanted the land. And that's what it was all about. So, and that's why I wrote this song, you know. If our patriots are labeled, then where will our country be? You'll never keep your freedom, and you'll lose your liberty. Yeah, that's, and those words stand today. How did I know about this? I don't know. I don't know. I got smacked upside the head with some patriotism and common sense. I don't know. God smacked, I guess. I don't know. But anyway, I wanted to share that with you. Like I said, I haven't heard that song, I don't know, in at least 15 years or something like that. But anyway, okay, that said, let me see if I got time for one more clip here. I don't know. No, I don't think so. We've only got about 40 seconds left. But anyway, I certainly hope that on this, I don't even want to call it a holiday. It's not really a holiday at all. It's a celebration of evil. And I remind you, you know, the jack-o'-lantern, you know where the jack-o'-lantern came from? Back, you know, thousands of years ago, the Druids, what they would do is they would sacrifice a baby. Yeah. And they would cut the fat off the baby, and they would carve the face of the god that they were worshiping into a gourd or a pumpkin, and they would throw the fat from the baby in there and set it on fire. That's the origin of the jack-o'-lantern. Interesting. So anyway, if you got a jack-o'-lantern, you're burning a baby in effigy. What do you think of that? That's one of the many reasons why I don't participate in Halloween. It's all negative energy, folks, and I hate to think of all the nefarious and horrible stuff that goes on, the ritualistic stuff that these insane Satanists do on this holiday, which is all the more reason why we have to stand in the light, we have to stand for the truth, and we have to fight these people, and hopefully we can purge the entire world of the scum of the earth. Anyway, that said, that's going to wrap it up for this week's editions of the WTF Reports. Please support us. If you're listening on BitChute or Rumble or YouTube or whatever, click like, share, subscribe, and share the word. That said, I'm out of here for the weekend. You folks be safe, be free. God bless you all, and I'll see you on Monday.